Okay, hello everyone, this is Heather from Little Trickle Farm, and I'm going to make a video of how to butcher a chicken. And we're doing it this way because I think it's the best way for you to see what's going on. And first we're going to talk about what knives are the best for you to have available to do this. The first one is a butchering knife. It looks a lot like a fish filleting knife, but it's a little bit stiffer. This is the one that you're going to use the most. If you do not have one of these knives, then you can use a very sharp paring knife in a pinch, but it will be a little bit trickier to use something like this. Although sometimes I do use it depending on what goes on. And then you're going to want some sort of big chef knife as well to cut through the joints and a couple other times during the butchering. But this is the one that you need the most for butchering a chicken, and you can get this in multiple places in Ottawa. If you're going to look for a nice one, you probably want to go to a store called CA Paradis that's on Bank Street. I'm sure there's other places, but that's where I have looked for knives before, as well as there's another one at the other end of Bank Street that I'm blanking on the name, but they have all Japanese knives. And I think both of those places will do sharpening as well, which is extremely important to have a sharp knife. Okay, so when you get your chicken from us, it's going to look like this. The legs are wrapped up within this part right here. This is the back of the bird, okay? That's where, you know, the eggs come out if it was a female, or the poop and pee of a chicken. And then the front of the bird is here, where the breasts end. And right now we're looking at the bottom of the bird, and if you were to flip it over, this is the way that it walks, okay? So it's kind of important to notice on the top of the bird there's not that much meat. It's the bottom where the breasts are, and the legs come together like this. So the first thing you're going to do is cut the wings off. So you pull them out like this, and you want to find where the joint is. You can kind of feel it with your finger, and you'll get better at this with practice, and you just kind of slice it open and you'll be able to see the little knuckles where the joints come together. And if you got the right spot, it'll come off very easily. Okay? So you do both sides like that. Okay? If you're cutting and you can't get through, then that means you're trying to cut through the bone. And cutting through bone is pretty much almost impossible, but the joint is where you can really get through. Okay, and then the next thing to do is you're going to cut the legs off. Okay, and so you take them out of the skin flap here and pull them apart. And what you want to do is cut through the skin. There's a big open hollow area right here. And then you can see the rest of the skin, or the rest of the leg, sorry. This is the drumstick, and then this is the thigh. So once you have it cut open like this, what you need to do is you need to kind of dislocate the shoulder, essentially. And there you can see the joint popped apart. And from here, you're going to cut the leg right off the bird. And the key to this is staying close to the bone, like the carcass, so the rib cage along here, and then down into the bottom of the bird, or the top of the bird here. The closer you stay to the rib cage, the more meat you're going to have on your leg. This takes a lot of practice, and believe me, I wasn't as good at this as when I first started, but you really want to just start slowly, kind of feel your way, okay? So you're holding the leg with one hand and the other. I'm left-handed, so if you're right-handed, which most of you probably are, it's just going to be the opposite. One side is always going to be a little trickier than the other, depending on which hand you are. So you just kind of slowly cut along here, like that. Keep the bird on the cutting board. Lifting it up is going to make it more likely that you cut yourself. So once you get to the joint, you kind of have to feel around and kind of wiggle the knife until you get past it, okay? At this point, I do kind of like to hold the bird up like this, so the leg is up in your arms, and you're pretty much pulling the leg away from the body of the bird, and that makes it just a little easier to cut until you get to this point here, where it's just skin attached. And so then you've got a leg. And you can do what you want with this. You can leave it whole. We like to keep them whole for roasting. Or you can also find the joint here and cut the drumstick off the thigh. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to leave it like that, and we always leave the skin on because we love crispy skin. So then you turn it around, and you do the same on the other side. It's just going to look a little different because of the handedness. So remember, you cut that skin, you break or dislocate the shoulder, or actually it's not the shoulder, it's the hip, really, because these are the legs that they walk on. You're just going to follow your knife along the edge of the bird. And when you're doing this for the first time, just make sure you go slow and just think about trying to get as much meat as possible on that leg, okay? And you can see I missed a little bit here, and yeah, there's a little bit of meat there, so I didn't do as good of a job as I did with the other one. But we make stock with this, or broth with the carcass, and that meat has delicious goodness that'll go into your broth. So the next part is to do the breasts, which are left here. And this is where a good sharp knife is important, and hopefully mine is still pretty sharp. This is the breast plate, so that's like our sternum area. Okay, the sternum is up here, and then our collarbone. The collarbones are the wishbone in a chicken. The wishbone is just the collarbones of the chicken. You're gonna find that breastbone along here, and see, my knife is not staying as sharp as I would like, but it's still doing a good job. So once you find there's like a little bone here, I'll try to lift it up so you can see better, right here. And you want to cut on either side, so you pick one breast first, so let's do this one. And you're just going to start moving your knife along and staying as close as you can to that breastbone so that you get as much meat on your breast as possible. And you just keep going here and just keep traveling along. And down here you're going to hit the wishbone or the collarbone, and that's where you'll lose a little bit of meat, but overall you're not going to lose much. Okay, so just slowly cutting like this. And once you get down here, let's cut that skin off, you're going to get to where the little wing nubbin is here, and that is attached into the breast and onto the body of the bird. And it's not as easy to kind of dislocate as the leg, so what I like to do is just slowly cut till I kind of find that joint. So I can feel the joint right here. It's hard to see, even I can't see it very well when I'm doing this. So I just always feel with my finger, and I can feel where the joint comes together, and then it makes it easy for me to cut right through. Okay, and then you've got your breast with the wing on it. If you don't want that wing on your breast, so you want a boneless breast, you just find where the end of that bone is and you cut it off. And then you've got kind of like your little wing, and you can clean that up if you want, or like, we're probably just going to throw all these cuts together and cook them in the oven, and that will be delicious. So add it to my bowl. We like to keep the breast skin on. Like I said, we love crispy skin, but if you want to take it off, now's the time, and it just rips off very easily. Okay, and there's even the tender on the inside here. We honestly don't really take them off very often, or if we do, we'll cook it with the breast. Because you need like a lot of them to do anything special with the tender. So now your bird's getting wobbly. It's only got one breast left, so this is a little bit trickier, but you're going to do the exact same thing, except your knife is running in a different direction because you switch the sides. And I'm assuming you're not switching hands with your knife. I don't anyways. So I always find this part a little bit harder than the first one, but you're still just running your knife along the carcass, the ribs, until you get that breast off. And you can see this bird is quite large. The breasts are big, so you get lots. I think this is a 6.5 pound chicken. Some of them are going to be smaller. But we always get a few meals out of one bird, especially if we butcher it up like this. But even when we roast a whole bird, we get a lot. So this is a trickier part. I don't know, it's kind of always a bit of a, I can see the joint here, but I'm having a little bit of trouble cutting through it, so I'm going to flip it over so that my left hand that's working with the knife has a little bit more space. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to cut this off. So that's the little wing and then the breast. Oh, and in this breast I can feel the wishbone broke off. So I'm just going to use my knife to kind of cut this wishbone out. So the collarbone broke off. And that happens sometimes because they're not very strong. These little bones are not very strong. So put the breast in the bowl with the rest. Now you've got the carcass left, and this is what we use to make stock or broth. And what I like to do is I just like to break it in half. Okay, the spine usually breaks pretty easily, and if you break the spine and then cut it like that, then you've got two nice pieces. If you're freezing it, you can put them together and it kind of fits better in a bag than otherwise. And we definitely keep every part of the chicken for eating. So that will be soup one day or stew. And you can freeze the breasts separately and just do a meal with breasts, or you can freeze the legs separately too. So then you get like multiple meals out of one bird. And what else? So after this, I wash my hands, I get the bags ready or whatever I'm doing with the chicken, and then it is done. And I think that's about it, but this is the first time doing a video and doing a demo, so please leave a comment. If you have any questions, ask me. I will be happy to answer them if I can. And I always have a cloth and some hot soapy water in the sink while I'm doing this, just in case I have to go and wash. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you butcher your own chicken, or if you don't do it yet, you will think about it one day.